Hey guys, today in SAO Integral Factor, we are going to test the Fist of Steel Iskahn skill. So this skill has 3 effects in there. The first one is the standoff 5, which is adding the flinch resistance. It's quite self-explanatory, so we're going to skip this one. But the tempo 5 and the step in 5 is what we are interested. So I have tested the tempo 4 and step in 4 before, and I would like to compare it with this one see if there's any better. But before we begin, please like, share and subscribe for more SAO Integral Factor content. So for this test, I'm going to use a spear, and we're going to remove all of this passive actually, so that we can test just the Iskahn skill. And first thing, we are going to focus on the step in 5 skills to see like how many hits do we need to get 100% critical, if it is possible, because we know that with the step in 4 we can get 100% critical rate after a certain hit. So you haven't seen that video, you can check it out on my previous link for the Bright Eyes Silica skill test on SAO Integral Factor. So we begin our conquest here by just hitting the enemy and getting as much hit count as we can. And so the flinch resistance actually helps, so that even if I get hit, I still don't lose my hit counts there. So it's quite helpful for this kind of skill. So I'm at 150 hits, but sometimes I still see non-critical hit there. So you're gonna keep going. And around, yeah, it looks like around 200 hits, or maybe a little less than that, all my hits is already hitting criticals. So you can keep going here, and I don't really see any hit that is not critical on this bunch of monsters. So yeah, so this skills, so you know that at 150 it's still not, we still have non-critical hits there, so it's pretty similar to the Bright Eye Silica. So next we're going to test with the tempo 4, and for this one I'm going to equip this Lifa skills to prevent my hits to hitting critical, so that I know how much increase does the attack, how much attack increase do I get from this tempo 5. So just remove Koharu skills there, so that Koharu doesn't give an extra effects on my attack. So starting off, as you can see, my damage is around 1000, or yeah, so it's around 1000 or a little bit more against the boar. And I pick boar, which is not weak to thrust element. And then we're going to keep going and see if this effect stops at around 100 hits or 120, just like the tempo 4, or does it keep going up. So at around 150 hits here, I can see that my attack against the boar is around 1150-ish, maybe. Sometime it hits 1200, and it does not seems to be increasing anymore. So it stays around the same hits when I had 200 hits, or even at 850 hits. It still stays the same around 11,050, and sometimes it hits 1200. So I think this effect is pretty similar to the tempo 4, that it stops at around 100 hits maybe, or a little bit more. And next, let's see how much attack do we actually get. So I'm going to compare it with this set that set my attack at 2260. And before, with the Iskahn skill, my attack was set at 2062. So it's almost increasing it by 200 points. And let's see if this damage, we can achieve the damage with the maximum number of hits with the Iskahn skill. So with this damage, it's getting a little bit lower than 11,000 or 1100. And sometimes it's higher, so it's at 1135 and 1100 at 61 there. So it looks pretty similar, but a little bit on the lower side, because before I don't see I don't remember seeing a damage that is lower than 1100, but this time we can see a couple of attack that is lower than 1100 already. So just gonna keep going a little bit more and see if we can ever hit the 1200 damage, which does not seems like we do. So it probably is a little higher than 200 point increase then. I'm just gonna dodge the spore so that I can change my equipment. So we're going to increase the attack. So I'm going to change this passive now with the energetic silica, which gives 18% attack increase, which is more than what we have in here. And I'm going to remove the pastel summer. And when I've removed this one, it sets my attack at 2361. So this one is almost increasing my attack by 300 points. It's like 299. And let's see. So with this one, yeah, it's looking, sometimes it's getting higher than 1220, which again I don't see on the previous test. But the damage here is pretty similar to what we got. So I would say probably it was increasing it by 250 attack points at a maximum number of hits. So if you remember the damage with the Iskahn skill at 0 hit, it was hitting around 1000 damage, and it got increased to up to 1200 maximum. Don't get discouraged with the number, the small number of increase in there, because like this skill shines when you use it on skills. So as you can see, I'm testing it with the Klein skills there, which is hitting around 20,000 or 21,000. And at 150 hits here, now my skill is hitting at 22,000, 23,000. So I already have like around more than 1,000 damage increase. Next, we're going to compare it with the Tempo 4 from this March of the Rage Leva. I choose this skill because the attack stats is pretty similar to what I have with the Iskahn skill. We're going to see how much difference is in terms of the attack increase, number of the attack increase between the two skills. So you can see I already hit 100 hits here, which should get me about the maximum number of attack that I can get. And the damage is pretty much the same, so it has maximum damage at 1200 in there. To summarize, the Tempo 5 and the Step Up 5 effect from the Fist of Steel Iskahn skill is almost the same, if not exactly the same as the Tempo 4 and the Step Up 4 counterpart. It seems like they are just named differently so that it can stack with each other. The Step Up 5 is capable of getting our critical rate to 100% at around 180 or 200 hit count, while the Tempo 5 can give us maximum around 250 attack at around 100 to 120 hit count. If you already have a skill that can increase your attack by more than 250, the Tempo 5 effect on this skill may not worth much, but the combination of the flinch resist, attack increase, and critical increase based on number of hits may be useful depending on the passive set that you have. So that's it for the video. I'll see you in the next SAO Integral Factor content. Bye now!